Am I the asshole here for telling my cheating wife a day before our daughter's graduation that I would be divorcing her? My wife and I have been married for 20 years, and we have a daughter who is 18. She graduated high school a few months ago. Around 6 years ago, I found out that my wife was cheating on me and having an affair which lasted for a couple of months. I really wanted to divorce, but my wife was remorseful. She quit her job, she started going to therapy, she promised all reconciliation steps that I asked for, and ultimately I did decide to stay with my wife for her sake and for our family's sake too. For around 5 years, everything was actually going great, and we had date nights, romantic vacations, and we really loved each other. However, on the 6th year, the whole thing resurfaced back in my mind, and I just couldn't get my mind off it. I finally made my decision after a particular line from my sister struck a chord with me. She said, "Would you really want to use the gift of life and spend it with someone who had betrayed you so badly?" She told me this a couple of days before my daughter's graduation, and that is when I finally decided that I couldn't do it anymore. A day before my daughter's graduation, I informed my wife of my decision and told her that I would be filing for divorce soon. My wife was shocked, and she cried a lot, and she told me that she would do anything. But I told her that my decision was final. My daughter's graduation in itself was great, and I was really proud of my daughter, and my wife seemed happy too, but my daughter could sense that something was wrong, and asked me why her mum seemed down and trying to fake a smile. I told her not to worry about it and to just enjoy the day. The next day, however, I told my daughter that I would be filing for divorce, and my daughter seemed shocked. She said how I could do this to her mum before graduation, and that's why her mum couldn't enjoy the graduation. I told her it's none of her business, but we'll always both love her regardless. My wife and I are now going through divorce proceedings. Am I the asshole here? Radiant Cherry says, "I get that it's tough, but the timing was terrible. Your daughter deserves joyful memories, not family chaos on her graduation day. She'll remember this forever." Kurosaki says, "Then told that it was none of her business? Yikes." Raymiro says, "Yeah, it's definitely her business." Another goddess says, "Could have done it the day after." Sweet Fancy says, quote, "I told her it's none of her business, but we'll both always love her regardless. If OP really had the daughter's best interests at heart, he could have waited some more rather than have the graduation marred with this news. You stayed married for this long, you could have waited some more." And Gravy Train says, "You are absolutely within your right to end your relationship for whatever reason you have. That doesn't make you an asshole. What does make you an absolute asshole is how you chose to do it. Your complete lack of empathy and thought about timing your announcement. Even if just for the sake of your daughter. Your wife ruined your relationship 6 years ago, you ruined your daughter's high school graduation day. She's not going to ever graduate from high school ever again. You forever tainted this moment for her. Like others have said, you waited 6 years already. What would another few days have been? This was completely selfish, no consideration for anyone else." I came into this thinking like, yeah, maybe he's not so much of an asshole because it's, his decision to break up the relationship. He can choose to do it however he wants. But then I remember my own graduation from school, and all I remember is interpersonal drama within the family. So for me, I'm very much in the daughter's shoes there, because when I think about my graduation, the first thing I think about is that drama that ruined the graduation for me. I don't actually think about the graduation itself, that there was no good memories that overshadow the negative emotions that I have tied to my own drama within my graduation. And now that I think about it personally, every time I think back to the graduation over the years, that's what I remember first. So I'm absolutely on the daughter's side here. This father has ruined the graduation and the memory that is supposed to be a positive and, evolutionary one. I'm evolving from high school into the adult world. You have stolen that memory from me because it's always going to be about you instead of me, when it should be about me. So as Gravy Train said, yes, you are absolutely within your right to end the relationship for whatever reason you have, but he is absolutely an asshole for making this day about him and doing the breakup on the graduation day. You couldn't wait? I just genuinely don't understand why some people have to take over days that are supposed to be about us. Can you not chill out and do it another time that we can all forget about? Yes, you're the asshole. And now, onto the updates. So my daughter called me last night and told me she came across the post I had posted, and after reading my comments, she asked how I could be so cruel to her mum. She then told me she was going to temporarily go low contact with me. I did tell her I know she's going through a lot, and I'll always be there for her, but I'll respect her decision to go low contact. So that's really not the best news, but life does move on. Holy shit, you didn't even say sorry. There was no acknowledgement of your wrongdoing. You're a piece of shit, OP. One original one says, "Man, I just don't understand how this dumpster fire keeps burning," he says as he continues to pour gasoline on it. Big Alternative says, "This is Exhibit A in how not to handle this situation. You successfully made your cheating wife the victim and gave your daughter every reason to hate you." The Final Filter says, "I made a similar comment on the original post. If he can't get past the cheating, he should have divorced his wife, but waiting until right before his daughter's graduation was not the time to let his wife know." Cherry Plum says, "We've an idiom in Hindi. It translates to, strike your own foot with an axe. And if OP ain't the biggest example, like created a problem out of nowhere." Well, there's your update, guys. And what an update that was. Some people just don't love taking accountability for their own actions. Let me know just how pleased you are with that update down in the comments. Thank you very much, guys. I would love to hear your feedback. Our next post is by user GoldVeterinarian83, and it's titled, "I've been sick for a month, and my mum won't take me to a doctor. Am I the jerk for putting my foot down?" I, 18 female, started to get what I thought was the cold or flu around the end of September. I was coughing, sneezing, and my eyes were watering, the whole 9 yards. I didn't think much of it since I normally feel a bit shitty when the seasons change, and this was right around the time that everyone was getting sick. A week into October, my symptoms were getting worse. I started coughing so much to the point that it would trigger my gag reflex, and then I started to having trouble keeping food down. Since I work in customer service, I had one hell of a time talking to people. Every 3 words, I would start coughing uncontrollably, and no amount of tea could help. 3 weeks in, I started to develop a light fever. Nothing too crazy, but I wouldn't be able to sleep at night. Tossing and turning in bed would disrupt the phlegm and mucus in my throat, and I would end up coughing so much that I had to spend most of the night hunched over the toilet until all the mucus came up and I felt good enough to go back to bed. Now it's been 4 weeks. Gagging in the bathroom over the toilet is a daily occurrence. I still can't sleep properly. I am running out of breath and coughing when I'm just walking to my bus stop or up a few flights of stairs, and I haven't been able to eat anything of sustainable food in 2 days. My mum refuses to take me to see a doctor and is convinced I just have a cold. We do not have a family doctor, she will not give me the updated health card, and she will not let anyone take me to a doctor or a walk-in clinic. She has ignored me before when it came to health problems that I've had, such as my esophagus being ripped open from pure force of me throwing up for 2 weeks, and completely forgot the fact that the doctor said that if we had waited an hour, which she originally wanted to do, they would have had to shove a tube down my throat, and I would have had an infection. She has completely ignored and denied a nurse, saying that I need a knee brace when I smacked my knee so hard on a rock during a hike that it shattered the cartilage in my kneecap. She ended up slapping a compression bandage on it and complained when I was still hobbling around 2 weeks later and said I was overreacting. I had a bit of pillow fluff stuck in my ear, and it took her 3 years to take me to get it checked out and cleaned. It took her so long that both my ears developed a really bad skin infection, and I had to take a butt ton of medication and eardrops to fix it. Fun times. Tonight, I finally put my foot down and told her directly that if she didn't take me to see a doctor within this week, I'm going to find a way to take myself there. She started crying, saying how could I go against her better judgments, and asked how I could possibly believe all of my coworkers, teachers, and peers who were telling me to go see a doctor over my own mother. I tried to talk over her, saying how I'd been sick for almost a month, and that even if it was just a cold, it wouldn't hurt to get it checked anyway. I started coughing a lot, and she kept telling me to be quiet, and the reason why I'm still sick is because I won't shut my damn mouth. So am I the jerk? Cerulean Fruit Snacks says, not the jerk. Go to an ER. You sound very sick and your mother is delusional. What she is doing is neglectful of your health, and it needs to change. Tell the staff of the ER that you don't have your documents because your mother has refused to take you for treatment. Screamy Sashimi says, yes, 100% this. After you are recovered, it would also be good to try to make a plan to obtain your own health insurance now that you're an adult. Also, I mean this in a, it doesn't sound like your mother is reliable way, not in a, no one wants to work type of way. Only One True King says, yeah, the mum needs professional help. Actually, something that concerns me with this. What if mum doesn't want OP to get better for some twisted reason? Obsessive says, since you were 18, you need to get a copy of your birth certificate, passport if you have one, insurance card. Keep all of your important documents. If you are working, get a bank account in your name only. This past behavior on your mother's part is neglect turned into abuse. Save up and move out as soon as possible. She has some mental issues and needs help. She's trying to guilt you and manipulate you. OP replies, she will not give me any of my personal documents, saying that I am not responsible enough. I think I might be able to get my health card number through my school and might be able to work something out. Puzzleheaded replies, it is illegal for her to keep your documents. Call the police. I get that your mum refuses to take you to hospital, OP, but I don't know. 4 weeks of what sounds like a chest infection turning into something deadly. I'd be taking an Uber to the nearest hospital if I were you, but even then, you know, we're always gonna go on about the healthcare system in America. It just sounds like your mum's trying to kill you so she can get a life insurance claim off of you. Not good. You need to cut the apron strings and run. She is a dangerous person at minimum. And now on to the update. Sorry for the late update. My friend took me to the hospital during school, and I do have pneumonia. I've been at the hospital for a few hours now, and my mum was made aware of where I went. She showed up to my room crying, saying, "Oh, my baby," and other bullshit pretending to care. She gladly gave over my health card and other documents to the doctors, and she's acting as if nothing happened and she's just a worried mother. I told the doctor my past medical history and what my mum has done, and I'll probably be staying at the hospital overnight, but luckily they said that it wasn't life-threatening yet, and I will make a full recovery in a few weeks. The doctor gave me my health card when my mum left for a bit, and it's in a bag with all of my stuff under the chair. I keep pretending to sleep so my mum doesn't come into my room as often, and the doctor told me that she will have to leave after visiting hours anyway, unless I specifically tell them that I want her to stay. I will be okay, thank God, but this was really scary taking initiative against my mum's wishes. I had to do something similar a few years ago when I had to leave my physically abusive father when I was 14. Thank you to the people encouraging me to go and giving me support. I think everything is under control now. As for leaving my mum's house, I think I'll just need to wait until I have saved up enough money to get an apartment with one of my friends, but I can worry about that after I've recovered. Covis says, medical neglect is awful. It leaves deep scars, both psychological and physical. It's been over a decade since my parents did that to me, and I still have a lot of health issues because of it. I'm glad that OP will be okay, and I really hope they can escape their mum soon. Good Focus says, my mum would do that throughout my childhood. I effing hate her, and now she has the audacity to belittle my symptoms like, well, you never had asthma as a child. I did, Ma. You just never bothered to take me to the doctor. Let's Begin with Fritos says, everyone was surprised that I had asthma as an adult. Looking back, I had all of the signs. Granted, the asthma was not severe. My mum was like that too. I got my medical files, and I come to find out that my mother painted me as a faker, a malingerer to the family doctor. I got great medical care as an adult by never showing those childhood files. Some people should not have kids. I also had a severe injury and needed extra help as a teen. Nope. It's sad. Whatever her reasons, I'll never understand. Once you have your own kids, you realize it's just not that hard to love your kids. And that's one that I always see online as well. You see that on Twitter all the time where it's like, I don't understand how my parents could scream at me all the time for not knowing about things when I literally didn't know anything about the world as a child. Yeah, I agree. Some people genuinely should not have kids. Anyone see that TikTok lately that's going around with that mum that's renting a one-bedroom apartment with her husband? And they're a family of 6. The mum and the husband sleep in the bedroom. She makes the other 4 kids sleeping the kitchen/living room, and she has more on the way. Like, I'm sure we can all make excuses for people like that, but that's abuse. There's laws against things like that, especially in rentals. She, in my opinion, should not be having more kids, and yet people like this continue to exist in the world. It really baffles my mind. It goes against all comprehension, and it's not going to stop. And that makes me really sad. So let's all collectively drown our sorrows out by more Reddit stories. But also to OP, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. I'm glad you finally got your documents and you can advocate for yourself more. You know, it's good that Reddit helps you realize just how bad the abuse you suffered from your mother was, and hopefully you have more strategies to combat her in the future and advocate for yourself more. Can't change the past, but we sure as hell can navigate the future more successfully. Thank you for sharing your story with us. I wish you nothing but the best going forward. Our next post is by user Goldwind5888, and it's titled, "Am I the asshole here for crying when my boyfriend let his best friend's wife alter the dish that I made for dinner?" So my boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 22 female, met at work 2 years ago. Technically, I was working part-time during undergrad and he was a customer, but after a couple of months, we started going out. I really love this man and nothing has happened on this scale before, so I'm very confused about it. My boyfriend has a very tight group of friends. I am well acquainted with them and their girlfriends. One of them, Dave, just married Ellie. Fake names. Ellie is an excellent cook and often hosts dinners, and everyone brings a dessert to those dinners. I am the youngest in the group, so most times they brush off my requests for contributing or bringing in a dessert. However, the last time I asked Dave and Ellie if they wanted anything extra, like wine or some sweet dish for dinner, they said I could bring one of those sweet dishes I make for my boyfriend. I'm Indian, and even though I can't cook as well as my mum, and I'm, well, in a different country for studies, I called my mum up and had her teach me properly how to make a specific Bengali sweet, which is my favorite. I had my friends taste it, and they said that it was great. My boyfriend ate some, and he said that it was excellent. Except last night, I greeted Ellie and kept the dish in the kitchen. When the food was brought out, and my boyfriend told everyone that I made it, I saw that someone had added cinnamon powder to the sweet. You never have the sweet with cinnamon powder. The dessert tasted like cinnamon, and I felt horrible. Though everyone said thank you and it was good, I think my face gave it away, and my boyfriend took me aside and said that Ellie had told him that my sweet looked too white, and thought cinnamon might bring some color into it. I don't know, I just felt awful and I started to tear up. My boyfriend then defended Ellie and said that his friends already think I'm a child and not to make a big deal of this and that we will talk about it. I told him Ellie asked him first, couldn't he have told her not to add cinnamon to the sweet? He told me he didn't think that it was a big deal and asked me to drop the topic on the way home. I didn't text him goodnight, and this morning he said he was sorry and said my crying made him feel like an awful person. I don't know, now I think I overreacted. Am I the asshole? This is just emotional manipulation central. So he doesn't defend you to his friends ever, like a story that we covered not too long ago. When it comes to an impasse, he takes their side and then blames you for something that someone else did that he was supposed to stop and be like, hey, yo, you're gonna ruin this shit. Actually, now that you've ruined it, let's let her take the responsibility for this one, because my girlfriend is a terrible person. He downplays it by saying that it wasn't a big deal, even though no one at that party respects you now because they think that you can't cook, that you're a child, and that they don't respect your presence. And now he was sorry and your crying made him feel like an awful person, not his actions and the way that it reflects on you now. None of that makes him feel like an awful person. Just the fact that you cried in response to the shit that he did, that makes you an awful person. Right. So you should just be a doormat and just take everything and not have an emotional reaction to things like a human would have. Yup, cool. Normal behavior from his behalf. He is conditioning you for abuse, OP. You need to cut your shit and run. Get away from him. Vegetable Business says, boyfriend saying everyone thinks you're a child and him saying we'll talk about this later is him telling you he thinks you're a child. Girl, tell him you're tired of hanging out with judgmental old farts and you're gonna go find people younger and cooler to be with. Please don't think this guy hung the moon. Flashy Blue Jay says, yes, the correct response to being told everyone thinks you're a child is to pack up any belongings you have left at his house and move on. Please leave this controlling, manipulating, and rude man. And in any case, it was extremely rude of the hostess to alter your desserts. You went out of your way to make an authentic Indian dessert that probably many people there have not had before, and the hostess completely changed the flavor profile. Not cool. You have every right to be upset. I mean, if it was flavored with cardamom or rose, the cinnamon would completely ruin it. Billy Mack actually says, and why did she ask his permission to alter your dish? That is the rudest, most patronizing thing I've ever heard. OP, get away from these awful people. Wieldy Mouse says, why did she ask OP to bring a dish at all? She specifically asked OP to bring the dessert that OP makes for her boyfriend. Why ask for it and then alter it? And Just Me Raw replies, to put her in her place. To a now deleted comment, OP says, thank you. By the way, it was Rosgolla. I even had my mum ask our local sweet shop what quantity they used for the sizes of Rosgolla. I had managed to make the sweet taste a lot like the one from the sweet shop, so that's why I was so upset. If it tasted bad, I wouldn't have cried. Another commenter says, actually, you should have asked right at the table why is there cinnamon added to your dessert. Not in a shout or complain way to make a scene, but to make it clear that your dessert was spoiled and your contribution was pretty much sabotaged. Don't cover other people's F-ups. It is on them, not you. And OP says, I didn't want to embarrass Ellie or my boyfriend. Plus, I didn't know who added the cinnamon during dinner, and I was too upset to even talk. So your boyfriend doesn't defend you and apparently all his friends think you're a child, which he also doesn't defend you against? He's also got 6 years on you. Dude's nearing 30. Does your boyfriend often treat you like a child? Does your boyfriend usually defend his friends when they do some F shit like this? Does your boyfriend defend you at all? He should feel like an awful person. He is an awful boyfriend. OP says, I usually just hang around my boyfriend's friends during these dinners. I admit I feel a little left out because they've all been friends for so long and I'm from a different culture, but they've never said any outright offensive thing to me. My boyfriend doesn't treat me like a child. He mentioned before that due to my age, his friends see me like a much younger sister, so I guess that's why he said it. I don't know, I'm kind of rethinking his words. Another commenter says, you should really let your aunt have a round with your boyfriend. In Bengal, we don't have girlfriends or housewives, we have queens of the house. He needs to understand the Bengali household hierarchy. And OP replies, there is no way am I going to tell this to my ma. She already has reservations about my boyfriend due to the age gap and the fact that he is not Bengali. But thank you. Your comment cracked me up. In response to a lighter comment, OP says, I know. I was horrified and I had to eat it and act like nothing happened at the dinner table to not cause a scene. Traumatized by cinnamon rosgolla was not on my bingo card this year. Back up to the post, there is a mini update. Ellie saw this post. My boyfriend texted me to see if it was me, and I said yes. He said we needed to talk, and for safety purposes, my best friend will be there. I don't know, I never expected my post to blow up. And now on to the actual updates. He said he needed space from the relationship. I think with the way the post blew up and what happened because of a post, I should clear up some things. I never asked if I should leave my boyfriend for this. I asked if this was an overreaction, my crying. But having thousands of people telling me that this was racially charged, Ellie wanted power, my boyfriend is shitty, etc., my brain went haywire. Boyfriend called yesterday, and when I got there, his house, with my best friend, Dave and Ellie were there too. Ellie was crying, and Dave looked really pissed at me. My boyfriend told me to sit down, and Dave started with how could I make a post that most of the people in the dinner party would recognize and know, and could shame Ellie and my boyfriend. My boyfriend was silent and wouldn't even look at me and was only shaking his head. It felt like I was a kid being scolded by my parents with my elder sibling disappointed in my actions. That is what I felt, and it looked. I admit, it was very spineless of me, but Dave went on for like a minute, and I was just looking at my boyfriend waiting for him to defend me. I asked Ellie why she would alter my dish after telling me to bring an Indian dish. She said that she thought Indian food would be brown. So racist. This woman has more Indian friends than me, and she thinks Indian food is brown. She grew up in the UK, for Christ's sake, and I felt so defeated. The comments, my friends, and people around me telling me that his friends came first to him, not me. He said he didn't think the sweet was a big deal. I told him that I would never let my friends alter something he spent 3 days learning, getting people to taste, and got his mum involved in, and he saw that I put a lot of effort into it, so why let her alter it? Why couldn't he ask me? Ellie started to cry, saying that she wasn't being racist, and she wouldn't know that I put effort into it, and now she couldn't host dinners again. I said I used fake names, so why does it matter, unless she and Dave went around telling people? Boyfriend told me he didn't expect this from me. My best friend piped up that he expected that my boyfriend would have an effing spine, so I guess they were both disappointed. My, I guess now ex-boyfriend, told me, in front of Dave and Ellie, that he needs some space. I told him to get lost. I don't know what my best friend said to him after that, considering I left my boyfriend's flat. I kind of just tripped into the metro station. So now I'm crying on my best friend's couch with an ice pack while his boyfriend keeps giving me peach schnapps, and my relationship has toppled over. I wouldn't have stormed out had he looked at me once. He just looked 100% on Dave and Ellie's side, and acted like I was the one with the problem when she caused me hurt. If his friends come first when they cause me hurt, where would have I been if I decided to marry this man? My friends are good to me and acting like I'm some fragile glass. I even heard my best friend and his brother whispering loudly from the kitchen, and his elder brother wanting to threaten him via Insta DMs. I hate that it has come to this, considering I've always been the mum friend to my friend group. I'm drunk while writing this, so have some grace in the comments. Also, if you'll be an incel like those people in my DMs, telling me I'll never keep a man if I'm this dramatic, please go away. I just thought that I needed to update. That's it. Thanks, guys. Edit. Guys, this is my first time that I've faced what y'all have been calling racism. To be honest, I didn't see Ellie putting cinnamon into my rosgola as racism. I was just hurt that my days of hard work had been ruined, and that's it. I understand that I need to work on my self-esteem and not let people walk over me. My best friend's elder brother, he's a doctor and is super pissed at my ex right now because he didn't know what happened, booked an appointment with a therapist he knows, as he thinks that I need mental help to not normalize aggressive behavior. I'm sorry for ranting on Reddit, but I guess that's where I am. Both my best friend and I will be going. He had been there for some time before, and the situation is tense at home because Dada, Bestie's brother, didn't know what was happening and tore my friends a new one for not protesting when Dave said shit to me. I still haven't told him that it was over a Reddit post and that I'm writing here. I feel awful, and I don't know how to tell my mum that she was right. I wish I never went out with him. One of my ex's friends from the dinner party asked me if I really left my ex over a dessert, so I guess that's what he told people. It hurts. I know it shouldn't, but it hurts. I think it's partially my fault. I shouldn't have let myself be treated like this. There were signs, and I ignored them, and now I think I'll never have another relationship because it feels like a horrible, anxious feeling. A commenter says, "The older brother, who is a doctor and is taking the time to make sure that your mental health is okay, sounds like he cares more about you than Dave or anyone at the birthday party." OP replies, "He does." And I never doubted that. He's also very mad at me for drinking too much, and at his brother for hiding the fact that my ex was an asswipe. I actually am grateful to him and my best friend for being a very strong support system. Another commenter says, completely unrelated thing by the way, brown rosagollas exist in India too. They are not as sweet as the white kind, so I prefer the white ones. And OP says, I was thinking of making gur rosagollas. They are brown and tastier in my opinion. I think maybe if I had made them, this whole mess wouldn't have happened. Another commenter says, I say date Dada or the best friend. Dada knows how to treat a woman and he seemed royally pissed at what happened to her, going as far as to get her therapy. I've had best friends and their family as mine before, and I know they have never gone that far to help me. Is it just me, or is it a little more than family to get so angry on her behalf and try to help her mental health? And OP replies, my best friend is gay and is very much in love with his boyfriend. That's the reason that he was in therapy for some time. He has faced homophobia in our home country and needed counseling. That's why his brother is overprotective of both of us. Where OP is from for those curious. I'm from West Bengal, but not Kolkata, though I have spent a couple of years of my childhood there. I am from a district that shares a border with Bangladesh, and both sets of my grandparents were from there. And that's where I'm going to end today's episode, guys. I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know what you thought of it in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.